section began to ironically hype him up, effectively leading him to believe that he had fans. Even though, at this point, his following was very small, the few people egging him on was more than enough to get to his head, as on July 14th, he would suggest a run for presidency. The cycle would repeat, as after this, people would not only start telling him he had good chances, but often refer to him as Mr. President. 4 days later, he would announce that he was working on an album. A few months after that, he formally announced his run for presidency. And it was around this time that his TikTok got really big, as many in the audience saw him as the next Chris Chan or Terry A. Davis. Just a month later, his TikTok hit 1 million views. The comical aspect of Daniel's online presence was reaching its peak as a phenomenon called the fog began happening throughout his TikTok videos. It seems that his front camera began malfunctioning, most likely due to Daniel hitting it in a fit of rage, as he would eventually become known to do. This made the image look foggy, and because of the meme that began surfacing at the time, wherein people would post cryptic references to a Lovecraftian fog that consumed everything in its path, the comments got flooded with fog references. Of course, Daniel was not technologically savvy enough to understand what happened to his camera, let alone fix it. The fact that everyone was commenting about the fog did not seem to matter very much to him, as the fog kept coming and going in his videos, essentially becoming an unintended running gag. And with that, the cult following he had gathered slowly went from uninvolved spectators to active. He was always very active in his own comment sections, and it seems he hardly ever doubted anything anyone told him. When a comment would show up claiming to be a scout for a record label, soon after, Daniel would start making videos saying he worked for said record label. But that was only the wildest manifestation of this behavior pattern. By convincing Daniel and his managers, they got him to claim he loved seafood, which he goes on to clarify is actually about Club Penguin. As time went on, his interactions with people that commented on his post became more and more involved, eventually culminating in a live dance where he would elaborate on his plans for his music career. So far, the entire story was well within the realm of normalcy and lightheartedness. However, as things inevitably do, it quickly went south.
You ask her
On the 20th of November, Daniel's
go back.
was
Rewind
found
a
and
second.
leaked. The activity on the account was...
Did you donate to this guy?
No,
Hit play. Go back. Go forward one.
no, I did
Look, now hit
not.
play.
It
Look,
was,
watch. There's a thing that pops up. It says, "Thank you, Willie, for the donation."
No, I didn't do it. Tell
Slick
her,
Willie
tell her,
donated. I'm joking.
tell her how it works.
Alright.
Tell
The
her.
only person Williams ever donated to is RTU. That's it.
Who's RTU?
You know the hero friend.
Okay.
He's a fat man from
Yeah,
the United States.
Alright.
yeah, and I just wanted to do that because I never been able to before the new year, you know?
Yeah, whenever he got $10 for Christmas, then he gave it to me, and then I used my credit card to buy it.
And tell her they don't have it. You
Okay.
know, because they especially say in this video, they talk about organizations on like Kansas, that was on ACT, and it's bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, so, yeah.
and lightheartedness. However, as situations like these inevitably do,
You're
it
seeing
quickly
the
went
fact.
south. On the 20th of
Yeah,
November,
that's
Daniel's
bad.
Pinterest account was found.
It's dangerous.
The activity on the account was seriously disturbing. There was a list of things dubbed girl crushes that included singer Grace VanderWaal and ventriloquist Darcy Lynn Farmer, both of whom were around 16 years old at the time. If that wasn't disturbing enough, the pictures themselves tended to be from when they were even younger than that. Another board on his Pinterest included a map that listed the age of consent in each state. After this information got around, Daniel took to his TikTok to acknowledge that the Pinterest was indeed his and apologize. Some people have said that he was coerced in some way to make this apology video by his managers, who we'll get into later. But the most damning Pinterest activities were happening long before Daniel started getting online attention. When Daniel noticed that an apology would not suffice to get people off his back for doing what he'd done, he began claiming that his account was hacked. Due to how believable that was given Daniel's technological illiteracy, Some people actually fell for this explanation. In a live stream by an account called Roach Records, a group of people that seemed closer than the average follower of Daniels interrogated him about the Pinterest account. To add insult to injury, these Pinterest leaks helped to recontextualize certain seemingly random videos of little kids Daniel had uploaded to his TikTok and YouTube, along with liked videos of children in vulnerable positions. His excuse was that those accounts were hacked as well after he gave the login information to someone called Fine Dining. Even if that was true for the Pinterest account, which it probably couldn't be,
We're watching this.
It's still
many
good. We're
little
not showing
girls
the
on
video.
TikTok, as the
Yeah,
people in the
why?
live stream point out. This doesn't even come close to addressing the fact that, in another video, he not only admits the boards are his, but that he used them to pleasure himself, in a clear admission of guilt. But that was only when Daniel was admitting there was a Pinterest account of his at all, since he would sometimes pretend he had no idea what Pinterest even was, or that the account was never his. Whether with or without the involvement of the untrustworthy manager trolls, it seemed a lot like Daniel had a big penchant for lying or purposely misleading people when he was confronted about something.
Somebody was telling me of some type of social platform called Pinterest. Huh. I wonder what type of printer it uses.
So, a few months go by with more of the usual. Daniel uploading videos that range from him being delusional about being a famous celebrity to doing trick requests. In the few times he did choose to address the allegations, he'd emphatically reiterate that literally everything that incriminated him was fake and a product of his former management. You'd think that, now that he's throwing them under the bus, he'd realize that the managers weren't really managers at all, and were just trolling him. However, Danderson's naivete gets the best of him, and he closes the video off by saying he is now signed with Interscope and Party House Records, meaning he just swapped his first group of managers for another. He proceeds to lump in anyone who tried to hold him accountable or get him to address the situation, such as Roach Records, with his former management. This meant that even if there was someone trying to manipulate Daniel into doing bad things, there was no way to figure out who did what. In another video he made to clarify the Pinterest incident, he claims that people were showing up at his doorstep and taking pictures of his house. Which may or may not be true, considering that, at this point, he was pretty well known and people did know where he lived. In the subreddit dedicated to him, there are multiple posts of people who happen to randomly find Daniel, which means it's probably not a very hard thing to do. One thing he mentions that is verifiably true is that people were making hundreds of dollars worth of pizza orders to his house, since he documented at least one instance of it happening on his TikTok.
So there's currently an argument going on downstairs about the pizza deliveries from yesterday. We had a total of 3 people deliver pizza all within a 30-minute period. They were all unpaid.
After mentioning the prank pizza orders, he goes on to say that his management had persuaded him to audition for an adult film on a Zoom call. And when he presumably began doing something humiliating, they added over 100 fans of his to the call, who supposedly witnessed it all. It's very hard to sift through what is true and what isn't, considering how much of this story involves pathological lying, incompetence, miscommunication, and essentially lost pieces of information due to how many different deleted accounts Daniel had. Regardless, all of this marked a turn into a much darker direction for his story. He closes it off by saying that he's hired a private investigator, and all of this situation was orchestrated by the media to smear him, because he's an upcoming superstar singer. Those statements are probably equally untrue, as Daniel definitely could not afford something like a private investigator, given that he had no source of income and was living off of the charity of benefactors. What stands out to me is that he mentions that message exchanges had been faked to incriminate him, when, so far, it's difficult to find a particular mention of something like that. So what on earth is he talking about? Well, we're about to find out. At this point in time, it's basically impossible to accurately contextualize Daniel's online activities, as he grew more erratic, delusional, and antagonistic with his own audience as time went by. At the end of April, in one of his many attempts to ape typical celebrity behavior, he would post a tribute to comedian Blake Shelton for Black Lives Matter. He consummates the deed by doing his own version of jumping jacks in an empty street. This is actually a theme throughout Daniel's videos, which could be a result of his manager's suggestions just as much as it could be because he likes doing them. Similarly, he made a jumping jack video asking for the George Floyd riots to stop, as well as another one where he seems to believe that the riots are being done by his fans. On the 1st of May, Daniel would post a video to his YouTube channel shouting out none other than EDP445, essentially empathizing with a sex offender and suggesting that they should do a collab in the future. I honestly can't really make a comment about that would make it funnier or darker than it already is. But soon, a new era would begin in the Larsonverse, dubbed the Headset Era, due to every video being recorded with Daniel donning a comically large headset on his head, even when he was running outside for whatever reason.
Whoever is trying to call me right now needs to stop. I realize I'm if you guys don't.
On the same day, he would publish a video called Daniel Larson Supports Transgender Mouth, in which he says, in support of Trans Awareness Month, he is now transgender. It is unknown why he did this, since there is no further reference to this ever again. While his attempts at saving face from the Pinterest account fiasco were still ongoing, a new bombshell was soon to drop, the May 6th incident, as the Larson heads have dubbed it. Despite how ominous the name sounds, it does not do justice to the psychological trauma inflicted by it. On that date, Daniel releases his first live concert on TikTok, consisting of him playing music in his headsets, which is completely inaudible to the watchers, and singing alone outdoors. So far, it seems like run-of-the-mill content for Daniel. Later that same day, however, he announced that he was planning to quit TikTok, but not before doing a live stream where he would audition for an adult film. This instantly set off an alarm among his followers, because he had previously spoken about being manipulated into doing exactly the same thing by his former managers. Everyone saw what was coming next, yet could not help themselves from looking at it nonetheless. The live stream began, and people began joining it en masse and wait for their expectations to be fulfilled. Like clockwork, as soon as enough people were watching, Daniel would pull his pants down and expose himself to the camera, until his live stream was shut down and his accounts got permanently banned. Just a few hours later, he would resurface in another account claiming, once again, that he'd gotten hacked, as if that explained or justified anything at all.
Hello everyone, this is my new account. Please follow this new account. This is my new account. Once again, this is my new account.
According to the Daniel Larson wiki, and yes, he does have a wiki managed by his loyal followers who have undertaken the burden of documenting his story as it unravels, Daniel was convinced by one of his former managers, Flexburger. In addition to the TikTok live, he also concurrently posted a picture of his genitalia to his YouTube community page, though that seems to now be lost media, probably for the best. It's difficult to say what exactly followed or preceded these events, but it was amidst these conflicts that Daniel declared war on Flexburger, as well as warning his fans against looking at pictures of his dingaling. What seems to have been the case is that Flexburger was one of the first people to discover firsthand about Daniel's Pinterest account, and because of this, decided to go on a campaign to expose Daniel. This included leaking private audios of Daniel talking about Sky Brown, a 12-year-old British-Japanese skateboarder, in a very suggestive way. Along with this, he pretended he was a minor and texted Daniel in classic To Catch a Predator form. Much to the collective dismay of his fans, it worked on Daniel every single time, as he would always say the worst things imaginable to people he thought were minors, soliciting them, and occasionally bringing in Grace VanderWaal, his go-to obsession, into the conversation, just to express how he felt about her. This was what Daniel was talking about when he mentioned the text messages. Daniel addressed all of this by announcing a lockdown and expressing all of his anger towards Flex, while saying that he would set the FBI on him. And hey, I guess you can do what you want when you're the president. What's surprising is that, even after this, Flexburger still managed to successfully pretend his way back into Daniel's good graces as Josh, an Interscope manager. It was under the Josh guise that he caused the May 6th incident. If it weren't enough, just a single day later, while everyone was still reeling from it, Daniel would go on another TikTok live stream on his new account and expose himself again. Now, not only did this bring a lot of attention to Daniel, but it also put a lot of things into context. Eventually, people put two and two together and connected the allegations with a bunch of other very incriminating clips. Examples of these include Daniel pledging to legalize child molestation when he was president, saying he repents for whacking it to pictures of children and Grace VanderWaal, as well as apologizing for having 500 megabytes of CP.
That's crazy.
So on
bro.
and so forth.
If you became president, would you make pedophilia illegal or legal?
So, I would, it's kind of interesting. That's a very good point. In my opinion, if underage can actually do with the consent of parents, if, they do it the right way.
A lot of people had chalked these up to him being a mouthpiece for whatever his deranged followers were telling him to do. But now it seemed as if this was no one's own doing but Daniel's. And even if people were laughing at him, to Daniel, it may not have been a joke at all. In another TikTok from just a little before the incidents, Daniel claims he was spoken to by his parole officer about him potentially going to jail over something he'd done.
Hello, this is Daniel Larson. I just got in trouble with my probation officer for not following the probation rules. Unfortunately, there was a miscommunication. He said if it happens anymore, I will go to jail.
Though he never specifies what it was over, people connected this to a period of 3 weeks during which he was absent. Despite giving a bunch of different, conflicting reasons to explain this absence, most likely it was due to his PO catching wind of his first adult movie audition, since, as he himself says, the people that were put into the Zoom call with him while he was doing it included at least a few children. From this point onwards, the amount of accounts that get created, hacked, or allegedly hacked, and then deleted is simply too great for me to go over each and every one of them. So I'll be focusing more on the general events. On May 11th, Danderson goes on another live stream, but this time, he's having a meeting with the therapist appointed to work his case. Some interpreted this as a good sign that Daniel was seeking
DSV.
Not something big.
and they didn't take his comments about this event very kindly.
That's the answer I was looking for. You got some idiot named DSP who's a total piece of shit, by the way. I like to get that on YouTube, but this guy thought he was hot because he beat me and Troy in a game that was like, it's like a Neo Geo conversion of Street Fighter or some crap.
This may seem like a minor issue, but it's less about the tournament itself and more about how Phil himself behaved afterwards. In later videos, he belittles the other players' issues with the port, saying that they shouldn't have expected arcade-like gameplay from a console, and instead should have practiced more.
Instead of about it, which is what it seemed all the OGs were doing, we'll just play the game and learn the differences so we know for the tournament.
Being a sore loser is bad, but not content with just that, Phil managed to also be a sore winner, because even after he started winning tournaments here and there, he continued to make everyone around him dislike him by behaving like a buffoon for no reason. While there is a video of Phil doing things like loudly and obnoxiously talking over people he was playing with, it seems he was self-conscious enough to keep the more egregious displays of his lack of self-control and respect for others to behind the scenes. In one instance, in 2002, he pushed the limits so much that, while he was leaving the place he was playing at, him and his friends were followed by the friend group of someone he'd recently lost to, who proceeded to compel him to pay a nominal amount of money for being a general nuisance. According to Justin Wong, another avid Street Fighter player whom DSP had beat before, he had the tendency of being nice to him in person and saying terrible things about him when he wasn't around. However, the most detailed account of why exactly DSP had such a terrible reputation in the community came from another fellow Street Fighter player, Viskins. His Reddit post reads as follows. This would have been either EVO 2005 or EVO 2006. Phil had been talking trash for weeks/months before I finally got sick of it. I'm pretty sure I challenged him to a money match and knew he wasn't going to accept and was going to be like, lol, fight me IRL at EVO, and I accepted. From here, it turns into what sounds like a total farce, except I can assure you that it was 100% serious, which makes us both look like total, complete idiots. So first, Phil was like, okay, well you have to sign some document because if I kill you, I don't want to be responsible. And I was like, whatever. Then there was an actual serious negotiation over who the ref was going to be, but I don't remember this part either. Then there was an honest-to-God negotiation over weight and that we were going to have to weigh in and everything. Again, I'm not making any of this up. As dumb as this sounds, this absolutely happened. Finally, it was agreed that he wouldn't have to go on a diet to fight me, and it was settled that we were going to fight. It was going to have MMA rules. It would have a referee and we'd sign waivers. I was dumb in the mid-2000s. Anyway, so we agreed upon this early in the year, and from here on is where the story gets weird. So apparently Phil was under the impression that this wasn't going to happen and that this was just internet shit talk. But a few people from the West Coast went out to one of the East Coast tournaments and told him that I was taking this seriously and was going to fight him, and had probably been in more gym fights in the past 2 months than he'd been in his life. So one day, Phil instant messages me on AIM and tries to back out. He was like, hey, so how about this? How about we pretend like we're going to fight, and then when a whole crowd is around us, we both do DX cross chops to the crowd. It'd be such a goof. This really happened, and I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? I honestly couldn't believe he was pulling this, and I was still mad about the whole thing, and actually wanted to fight him. I told him I wasn't going to do any of that trolling, but if you want to drop it, then fine, I'll drop it. We can both be adults about this. And that's pretty much what happened. I'm not going to jump him from behind in the parking lot or get in his face and threaten him. From that point on, there never really was any problem between him and I. In fact, the next year when Evo West was in San Diego, I let him stay at my place that year, and when Mike Watson and Jaha were about to kill him in a parking garage, I stepped between them and defused that situation. He later would go on to have more serious problems with Watson and Jaha, but I made sure it wasn't going to happen when he was staying with me. I generally don't hold grudges, so even though I remember being really pissed off at the time, by the time the parking garage thing happened a year later, I was over it. The parking garage situation Viskin is referring to is the aforementioned shakedown. But enemies weren't the only thing Phil made in his time as a competitive Street Fighter player. He also made some friends, however unlikely that may seem, and they went on to collaborate with him in the future. One such acquaintance was Mr. John Rambo, who sought Phil out after his victory at EVO because he wanted to get better at Super Street Fighter Turbo. He'll come up again later, so keep that guy in your mind. Despite his infamy in localized gaming communities IRL, Phil found a way to circumvent this by tapping into the realm of online gaming. Even if word got around about his excesses at the competitions, it wouldn't be enough to prevent him from making a name for himself based exclusively on what he chose to put up online. He created a YouTube channel in 2007 where he uploaded random vlogs related to his interest in competitive gaming. But in 2008, he slowly transitioned the channel into a rudimentary proto-Let's Play channel. Though instead of having the screen captured directly while he played it, he recorded it with a separate device, meaning he pointed the camera at the TV basically. At the time, Phil lived with his parents and saw content creation as a pastime rather than a job. Not that content creation was much of a job option in the Jurassic period, which was YouTube prior to the 2010s, but even still, he was somewhat realistic about his expectations. Still, that didn't stop Phil from taking inspiration from one of the early internet's most adored legends, Angry Video Game Nerd.
Now, as I was a Street Fighter player, I used to travel with a group of friends, and it was actually in a hotel room at a Street Fighter tournament where we were just hanging out and having fun, and one of my friends said, "Did you ever see this guy called the Angry Video Game Nerd?" I was like, "No, I don't know who that is," you know. And they showed me a video of this guy who looked like very much dressed up like a nerd, right? He had a button-down white kind of shirt, thick glasses, right? Even talked kind of a little bit high-pitched or whatever. And here he is, ranting at a video game, making funny lines, talking over the top, swearing like a sailor. Hilarious. No production values, no budget to it, just him and a camera making fun of a video game.
Though I get what he's saying, there is a kind of purity and earnestness to early YouTube Kino, and I use that word loosely because I'm pretty sure AVGN was on another site before he was on YouTube, but I digress. I think Phil took the no production value part a little too seriously. He took pride in posting playthroughs in bulk, with several hours of video dedicated to each game with absolutely no editing involved. On this decrepit, old, and abandoned channel, there are over 7,000 videos, because back then, you couldn't upload very long videos, compelling Phil to split them up into dozens, if not hundreds of individual 10-minute clips. Again, I should remind you, we're not talking about Bandicam or unregistered Hypercam here. We're talking about actual camera footage with built-in microphone audio capturing all of it, completely raw, untreated, unedited whatsoever. Unsurprisingly, the channel didn't exactly blow up overnight. Somewhat surprisingly, Phil is proud that he spent 3 years of his life doing this for no money and actively derided other content creators who only started doing gaming videos after they began being monetized on the platform. Mind you, this man is 28 years old and living with his parents, and somehow he thinks it's a merit that he makes no money out of playing video games alone with no one watching. On top of that, he brags about the passion and effort he put into the videos and his larger upload volume compared to these other much more successful creators, when in reality, he just has the most videos precisely because of how awfully effort they are. It's a perfect example of quantity over quality. Once again, it's not what DSP is doing that's the issue, it's that he brags about it in a really grating way while
I really, I don't know.
back to back to back. King Cotton marked the Washington, American Beauty, and Southwest at Aqueduct. 2 more stakes races. Tampa Bay Downs, another.
Are you falling asleep?
Buckle up. That
definitely not.
On American races.
Oh, do you have headphones in?
No. I just fell asleep for a moment.
I was gonna say, try not to.
Great to have you on
45
set.
minutes.
What are you most excited about?
Well, I think I'm most looking forward to a lot of different implications towards the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby today. I mean, that's not including, we're not even including Fierceness, obviously, who's going to be running at Gulfstream Park today. But I think the 3-year-old pitcher on both sides, the girls and the boys, will get a little bit, clearer today heading towards the first Saturday in May.
So much to get through. We have on-site coverage all over the country. We'll say hello to everyone.
Well, there's one plugged in right here.
No, keep talking to long one.
You're playing on your Steam Deck. What do you need it?
I want the long one. I was talking to my friends.
You're not even playing on it, but you're playing on your Steam Deck.
I know.
You mean like this?
Yeah. Can you hear that?
Says I was put here to spread joy and laughter.
I haven't been happy 1 minute of my terrifying life.
When you see someone always calm.
Thank you so much for giving.
So, what are these, bro?
Stewart.
Oh yeah, did you see the new Fat Rat song?
This is good. He actually got #1 on the album too, star for this.
Let's get a Billboard #1. This ain't rap, this ain't money, cars and clothes. We ain't selling those. I never took education seriously. Blood in his veins.
You gotta watch the new Fat Rat song, bro.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a special group, and they do things.
Alright, Uncle Aaron, I'm gonna say this right now. I think
teammates.
The NFL's rigged. I think they're making the Chiefs win just because of Taylor Swift. I think they're trying to rake in money.
Yeah, the Chiefs are gonna.
I think they are.
The Niners are gonna win, bro.
I hope the Niners are gonna win, but I think the Chiefs are gonna win just because money.
This song? Mary Jane.
That game's fun. Have you played Fall Guys, Tate?
Oh yeah. I never really got into it.
Yeah.
Wow, this is even like after my time. I'm old.
Yeah.
Geometry Dash, Jetpack Joyride, Slither.io, Lego Ninjago, Angry Birds.
I do remember that.
Subway Surfers. Minions Rush, I think that is. God, what is your
I'm drinking
page?
too much in my 20s? Okay, I'll stop. I'll just be single. Now they're saying my album Red is filled with too many breakup songs? Okay, I'll make one about moving to New York and deciding that really my life is more fun.
You just
with my
like it.
friends. Yeah. My music is changing too much for me to stay in country music. All right. Okay, here's an entire genre shift and a pop album called 1989. Now it's that I'm showing you too many pictures of me with my friends. Okay, I can stop doing that too. Now I'm actually a calculated manipulator rather than a smart businesswoman? Okay, I'll disappear from public view for years. Lately I've been focusing less on doing what they say I can't do.
Real quick, final question for each one of you. Want to go down the line? Bye, bye, bye.
I said it's
That comes out like next year.
No, it's gonna be longer than that.
Oh, 2026 or something.
Yeah, there's no
Like,
question.
I don't know why they dropped the trailer for like a few months ago.
Because someone leaked the game, that's why. Yeah. Someone like leaked the source code and all that, and yeah. You get fined in the NFL?
It's called taunting. It's dumb. It used to not be a thing, but all these freaking liberals.
Skippable song.
They're down 3. Rodgers steps through. He's got Jones. Jones wide open.
Wait, I wanted to see the rest of that. Did he fall down or something?
They're down 3. Rodgers steps through. He's got Jones. Jones wide open.
It wasn't scripted. He's a running back. He runs out of steam. Oh, yeah.
They're down 3.
They want.
Gosh, I remember going to midnight releases at GameStop. I did that for Dark Souls.
The last time I went to one was when I think Pokemon Sun and Moon came out. That was like.
I don't even think they do them anymore, do they?
No, I don't think so.
Here I go. I get picked
by the New England Patriots in the 6th round, 199. And I always joke.
Was
when
that
they
the guy
call
who
me
kisses
Justin
his kid?
Thomas, you know, Bill Belichick, you know, picking the 6th round.
Tom Brady kisses his kids.
You never seen that?
And there are
What's wrong
3
with that?
quarterbacks ahead of me.
But it's like in a weird way
Bill
though.
Belichick
Is he like
kept
tonguing
me
them?
as the 4th quarterback in my
You could
first
say
year.
that.
Wait, really?
The other day.
No.
They keep 2
Oh,
quarterbacks
then it's
most
not
of the
in a
time
weird
on an
way.
NFL roster now.
No,
Bill
but like look at the way
Belichick saw
he does
something
it though. That's the fun.
watching me
Alright.
work a little bit.
William, pull the
William,
video
pull
up.
up Tom Brady
Love for the
kissing
game.
kids.
If I
and
ever
all.
get in that position and I told
William,
you-
pull the video.
I'll give you the verdict. Yes.
Yo, Dan.
Oh God, Jesus. Oh,
Wait, you can do it on YouTube, yeah.
oh God.
You didn't hit the B, dude.
Yeah, you didn't.
I don't.
I really need to see what this is all about, cause
Just wait.
Literally the third one.
oh, there you go.
Super Bowl win under your belt.
Wait, why did you do this?
That's just a joke.
That's what I'm gonna do.
I know, but this isn't gonna have a video of him kissing his son, is it?
This is.
You know I
William,
won this
play the
game.
actual video.
Why?
Yeah, because we said so.
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes?
that's fine.
Yes?
It's kind of long, but yeah, just hit play.
Alright, so recently, Tom Brady, one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history and football history in general, unless you're from somewhere outside of America where you call soccer football, like, come on people, get with the times. But anyway, Tom Brady has recently been getting backlash online from people for releasing a photo where he's being kind of weird with his son. His son is sitting on his lap and Tom Brady has his eyes closed and is kissing his son on the
Wait,
back
how-
of his
yeah, that is
I'm not
kinda
gonna lie,
weird.
it's
How
kinda
old is
weird
his
at
son?
face value, and as a straight man with high testosterone and a not so tight relationship with his father, looking at this photo is kind of making me uncomfortable. And you know, it's not the first time that Tom Brady has been known for this kind of behavior, and I'm not making any moral judgments. I'm just trying to report on the occurrence. Now, here, as you can see in this video, is his son, the same one that we just saw in that video. However, he's like 2 years younger in this video, and you're gonna see that this is not the first time something like this has happened.
You know, Jack, everything comes at a cost, bud.
So yeah, him and his son seem to be very close, and you know, if you thought that was the last kiss while he's getting rubbed down by his masseuse, think again.
The second kiss shared by father and son prompted tweets from viewers using words like very disturbing and uncomfortably long.
He calls his boy back
Okay.
for a second kiss
I
and a
agree,
much
Tate.
longer
I
one.
think that is a little
And
weird.
you can see that his son is very uncomfortable with this kind of behavior. You know, wiping his lips after the fact. And you know, at that age, you know, it's okay, I guess, for a father to kiss his son
Maybe
on the cheek
Giselle
or on
made
the
him do
forehead.
it.
You know, typically your mom would kiss
Back
you
when
on
they
the
were
next side or
together.
something like that because, you know, that's your mom. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I find that kind of behavior just weird. And like I said before, I'm not gonna really put a moral judgment on it. I'm not gonna say it's good or bad, but I personally, in my humble opinion, find that just very strange.
Yes.
Especially if your son finds it to not be something that he's comfortable with. I'm not saying he is or is not, but based on what I just saw, he was wiping his lips after kissing his father on the lips, and it didn't seem like he was really comfortable with it. And in going back to the Instagram post we just saw, you could see that in the next slide, his son, who is 13 years old right now, is also sitting on his dad's lap in some kind of cool chair, you know, relaxing in the sun. I'm not sure if they're on vacation or not, but, you know, they're having a very loving father and son kind of bonding time. And here you can see some of the responses from people on Twitter saying, bro, no fucking way, what is this shit? His kid is about to get his driver's license and is still sitting in his dad's lap getting kisses. Tom, please be for real right now. Vomit emoji face. And then another person said, it's only weird because y'all are making it weird.
I think that's about the
No,
cutoff
that's a
between
slippery
like
slope,
12
because
and
you
30.
could literally
Like,
apply that to
he's
any
right
kind
on the
of weird
verge.
pedophilic behavior
Like, once they
between
turn
a
13
parent
to
and their
14,
child. You could
it's-
literally have your weird uncle touching you in a sexual way, like. Yikes. But they go on to say that it's not what we were raised or what our culture is. Just because it's a part of somebody's culture does not mean that it's a good attribute of that culture. Many cultures around the world participate in very bad practices that harm children. But anyways, he goes on to say, and he doesn't mean it in any weird way, like how some people are viewing it. That's normal for their family, stop making it weird. Okay, fair enough. If that's his opinion and that's his analysis on the situation, he's entitled to it, but I am also entitled to my opinion. My opinion when I say that this is something that I wouldn't personally do to my future son in that manner. Like, okay, if I'm hanging out with my little boy and I kiss him on the mouth, which is cute, that's one thing. But it's another thing when we're just chilling outside on a pool chair and he's sitting on my lap and I decide to kiss him on the back of his neck while he's holding the phone out and taking a selfie.
You normal, buddy,
Post
good
that to Instagram. Like, I'm sorry, but this.
I should watch porn on TV.
It's not like, what you said.
Click the play button.
I'm pretty good.
Hey! Hey! Okay.
No, you're close. I'm serious. Can you guys this card over here?
What's up?
Yeah, put some shoes on. Will it fit out that door or will we have to?
Hey, can you just help me?
No.
This plug right here. This real quick. It's this, the red one. Or I can go here.
Here. Here. Get over 5.
Never mind, Tig.
Alright.
Where's the tire?
Oh yeah. Taylor Williams, come open this door. We need to take the. I don't know. We tilt it. It won't fit through. We can probably tilt up. It might work. I'll let you pull me because I don't want to push you. Yeah.
I can't. Shit.
Are you retarded?
Yeah.
Oh, is this guy retarded?
Ah!
Uncle Aaron can hear you, bro. Oh, that's on stream.
What?
That's on stream.
The heart?
Yeah, the fart. The fart. The fart. Super Mario Bros.
Hey, if you did know what I am doing,
What are you talking about?
And she was like, oh, yeah.
Oh.
No, that's the one that.
What?
That's the one that. Hey, Wyatt!
Yeah, we got it. We're good. What are we watching now? Oh, where's the remote?
I don't know. He has it in his hand still.
Oh, probably. Oh, man.
We're not ready to eat, are you, William?
That thing was heavy.
Okay. Come on, Pam. Dr. Pete's ready to eat again.
Oh, yeah. Probably gotta figure out his feeding bag. I should probably watch this in case he comes out. Is it pretty easy to do your thing? That's why I came out. I want to see how you do it in case you come out and
Yeah. You watch around.
You see him?
The what?
Right there on the nightstand. Those cloths, yeah. Tate's got the cloth.
Features real-life events and contains images that may alter. Viewer discretion is advised. Individuals are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Coming up on Lone Star Law.
Peace out.